Ben and I are live this morning for Coffee Chat. It's Ben and Christina's Coffee Chat.
It is.
Lindsay is off learning Spanish. She's doing her Spanish intensive, so she will be away from Coffee Chat for a couple of weeks. So today it's Ben and I. Next week I'm hanging with Frankie. But today, what are we talking about, Ben?
We are talking about mood follows motion, or mood follows movement, or mood follows action. Do you get the theme there? There's a little bit of theme there.
We're talking about being moody.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. We're talking exactly about being moody. And we're talking about the fact that it's okay to be moody.
Perfect. Works for me.
Okay to be moody. No, it's actually a subject that Lindsay and I have been chatting a little bit about more recently. And actually, it came from a book that I was reading, a really interesting book that the book itself is about this guy that basically does ultra marathons, but he used to be an alcoholic. He was obese. He was seriously obese. He was a lawyer, a high-flying lawyer, but he was coming close to bankruptcy. His life was in a complete mess. And it's about how he turned his life around and started to compete in these endurance events. And like a lot of these stories, for me, it's not about like the actual physical side of it. It's more about the mental journey. That's the really interesting part. The physical side is quite kind of quantifiable, right? It's like, you know, you start here and you end there and that's it. But, you know, having raced and done things, endurance races myself, this is where the real experience happens. It's in your mind.
Well, so it's really interesting that you said like starts here, ends here. The physical part is, you know, it's measurable, it's easy. It's easy. I don't want to say easy, but easy, right? Like you do this, you get this result. Like that's, but I see all the time in the bariatric world that people, myself included, they start here, they set their goal, they reach their goal, and then there's this whole like, but wait, it didn't fix all my problems. My life, like I'm still unhappy. I mean, depression is crazy in the bariatric world. That there's hormone shifts, there's all kinds of things happen. And honestly, I see depression happen way more with the people that are like, you don't need exercise to lose the weight with bariatric surgery. And I'm like, maybe not, like maybe not necessarily, but there's a whole different thing that exercise does for your body. And that's kind of what we're talking about in terms of movement impacting your mood. So I know myself, there are many, many days that I do not want to get up and work out, that I don't want to move, that I just want to curl up in a ball and lay on my couch. Like whether it's that you're just not feeling good or you're just not in the place for it. Yeah. So tell me, I don't know, kind of, we never talk about this beforehand, guys. So tell me a bit about kind of the like sciencey stuff.
What's interesting what you just said there as well, actually, is like, for example, let's point out the obvious, and there's absolutely nobody that doesn't feel this way, whether you exercise regularly or don't exercise at all. But there's always going to be times where you struggle to motivate yourself. You know, you can't be bothered to go and join a class. You just don't feel like it. It's not your day to day. The motivation that you had a week ago has disappeared, and it's such a great idea then, and now it's like, oh my God, it's, you know, it's an early morning class. I can have half an hour extra in bed. So that inspiration will fail you, and that's where we start to talk to ourselves. You know, does it matter if I miss one day, or I'll just do it when I come back from work, or I'll do it when I feel better. When I feel better, I'll start, which is it's a classic. And absolutely none of these work, right? None of them work. And again, the title kind of gives it away. But you know, in doing some extra research in addition to this book, like if you put in mood follows action or mood follows motivation, the majority of white papers or journals you're going to pull up actually about depression, all of them about depression, and how, you know, in the bariatric world, like we're talking specifically about that particular world, is if you wait to feel like it, you're never going to get there.
Debbie just said you never feel better. It's true.
You don't.
And what we have in our head that we will, like, oh, if I just do this, and we want all the, and I mean, again, I hesitate to even say this, but we want the easy way out of depression. That, you know, doing the work to come, because I mean, I've suffered with depression in my life as well. So we want the things that are gonna, it's like, okay, I'll do this part of the stuff for depression and to get myself out of this funk that I'm in. And then once I'm out of that, then I'll start exercising, because then I'll feel like it. Well, newsflash, no, you won't.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this really important kind of statement that says, you know, impulse need not dictate behavior. So in other words, the need doesn't necessarily need to be there for you to actually start to adopt the behavior. And that's a case of just saying, well, I don't feel like waking up and getting out of bed. I don't feel like exercising, and that's okay to not feel like either one of those things, but sometimes you just have to sit up and you have to swing your legs off the end of the bed.
Lindsay's a great example, and she's an open book about this. That I mean, we all know that Lindsay's extremely fit. She works out on a regular. She works out really hard when she does. But Lindsay also rarely feels like working out. But she often will say she's not a morning person. So when her alarm goes off in the morning, for those of you who have never had this experience, Ben and I obviously both have, of Lindsay waking up to her alarm in the morning is not like, ah, like she gets out of bed and she's all excited. It's like, for the first little while.
Absolutely.
But she does it every day. And then as soon as she gets that workout done and out of the way, she's a whole new person.
Yeah. And that's one of the things is it's like everything, it's about setting little goals. You know, for example, if you're gonna work out, if the first thing you think about when you wake up is, oh my God, I'm gonna be doing 20 burpees in 15 minutes, nobody's gonna be inspired to get up and actually work out. But you know, maybe the best thing you do is you turn around and say, okay, all I have to do is get my clothes on and turn the Zoom room on. That's all I have to do. And then next thing you know, exactly, Christina's there or Lindsay's there or I'm there, and we're just saying, you know what, guys, just start moving a little bit, and you start to move a little bit, and then all of a sudden, you know, the movement starts to pick up, and all of a sudden, that resistance that you felt has quickly faded. You know, faded into, I'm actually awake now. I mean, I might not feel amazing because it's still early in the day, but I've made the transition from my bed to actually starting to move. And I mean, that's the big thing, right? It's like, I feel better, so I'm going to work out should be replaced by I'm going to work out so I feel better, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is, I mean, if you want to know anything about it, it's in the title, mood follows motion. Like, you just feel good. And I'm talking about good beyond just having moved. I'm talking about you feel good here, right? You feel good in here, like you feel like you've accomplished one of those tasks for yourself.
Well, and it's just, I mean, this is one of those pieces where you can use testimonials all day long. And I mean, ask anyone who worked out this morning. That I had a couple people in my class this morning. You had people in your class this morning. I saw Karen was in your class this morning. She rolled her butt out of bed early in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, so Lindsay had people in her class this morning. So every class this morning, you could talk to any one of those people. And I bet most of them would say when their alarm went off first thing this morning, they weren't like, yay, I get to work out. But they get up, they get it done, and your mood does improve when that happens. I know myself this morning that I was still feeling a little sluggish after being sick for like 5 days. And I didn't work as hard as I could this morning because, again, I'm still in recovery mode. But I definitely felt my mood lifting as my body, as I started to sweat a little bit, as my heart rate went up, that I could feel like, you know, okay, I felt more positive. So there's obviously a chemistry part and like a brain part of it.
There's a definite chemistry. I mean, like, you look at the endorphins from working out and just those feel-good factor that comes. You know, again, using my own example, like, as you know, I love to run, but sometimes I struggle to get out the door as well. And it's just because it's not easy, you know, you're going to have to work, and that's going to take effort, and effort takes effort, right? So sometimes you're kind of resistant to it. But I mean, personally for me, I mean, like the physical changes they're always great to see. But, you know, the mental changes are almost, if not more powerful, in terms of it creates momentum. It's like this momentum builds with this sense of accomplishment that comes from doing something you plan to do and actually doing it.
Absolutely. And the physical changes take time to happen. The mental changes are instant. Like you get that because, I mean, we're an instant gratification society, and you get that instant gratification from accomplishing that workout. I mean, again, the Lindsay Hack quote of the day, you never regret a workout once it's done, kind of thing. Like you never ever do. Like you're never like, oh man, I wish I would have slept for, 30 minutes instead of getting up and working out. Like I've never said that. That it's like, once I'm done, I'm done. And I'm like, oh, thank God I did that. Now I don't have to do it again. Sometimes that's my thought process, but I'm like, I did it. And I know sometimes too, that when I'm, especially for my afternoon classes, which aren't my favorite time to teach, but when I do those afternoon classes, sometimes I am kind of in a bit of a funk in the day. I'm like, oh, I have so much to do and I have this and I have that. But then I do my exercise and I feel like I've gotten energized again, like almost like drinking a cup of coffee, that it's like, it pushes me through the rest of my day.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about exercise, because the reality is if you're exercising, whether it be in the morning or in an evening, it's great. Exercise is good for you, whether it happens early or whether it happens late. You face different challenges towards the end of the day, right, as well. Like you've probably been at work, you've expended a lot of physical and mental energy just within your day, dealing with kids, getting kids organized to school and working, and then all of the things that happen. And by the time we get home, we're definitely absolutely beat as well. And we're in a situation where you face a different type of battle. Then it's like, it's not that you're tired like when you're tired on a morning, it's now you're tired because you've had a full day. And again, it becomes the same. It's like you're never going to feel like working out on a night necessarily. You've just got to just basically set yourself these mini goals. And a lot of the things that I kind of read and experienced myself is just not make those goals too big. And I have this ongoing joke where I'm like, I don't want to run necessarily right now, but all I'm going to do is put on my running shoes and then I'm just going to walk out the door. And then by the time I've got my running shoes on and I'm walking out the door, I'm like, well, I might as well just like jog a little bit, and I'll kind of jog a little bit, and next thing you know, you're away. And that's the same on an evening as well. Like you're always going to feel that challenge on an evening, and sometimes just get into the class and just start to get that body rolling. And we have to remember as well is we don't, progress doesn't happen from perfect workouts, right? So progress isn't about, oh my God, I had 6 perfect workouts this week. Progress comes from consistency. So you could come and have 4 or 5 average workouts a week consistently over 6 months, and you'd be far better than having 1 or 2 sporadic perfect workouts over the course of a couple of weeks. It's just consistency. So if you came in and gave it, 60% of your effort, you'd be in a far better position in 6 months' time with all of those little things building on one another. And again, just the simple target of get in there, and then you'll leave just feeling so much better.
Well, and everybody starts from somewhere. And I mean, that's why our classes are so beneficial, because it does take out some of the excuses of getting there. It makes the showing up easier. I know for myself, again, if I had to get up and go to the gym, like now, I used to have the excuse that there was nobody with my kids. Well, now Dallas and I live together, obviously. So I could go to the gym in the mornings, but there's no way that I would. This morning, we have like this much snow, like it's insane and gross out there. There's no way I would have driven to the gym in that. It's cold. My bed is warm. I don't necessarily want to see people first thing in the morning, like where they're like breathing on me, that I'm like, So there's no way I would do it. Like I just wouldn't. I would find every excuse in the book. I know that because I've tried in the past. I've bought so many gym memberships and not used them. And spending the money isn't incentive enough for me, but I need something that's easy that takes out a lot of my excuses. I also am a social person, like, at heart, obviously everybody knows that I like to have the social aspect, and our classes provide that to me. So pressing play on a video, no way, not going to happen. And then I take it a step further where I give myself little rewards for my workout. So like I eat a pre-workout snack, but I save my amazing overnight oats that I love to eat for breakfast, and I eat those after my workout. And I've made, because I do really well with little deals for myself, so I've made little deals for myself that if I don't work out in class, I don't get to eat the overnight oats. I have to have eggs instead. So I'm, it's just like little things.
Absolutely, right? It's those little incentives that kind of pull you along, right? It's whatever works for you. It's funny, I just see Tara just commented, I didn't want to go, or whatever, in terms of like, I didn't want to go, I don't want to go. Tara messaged me last week, and I was doing an arms and abs class, and I said to her, she said to me, like, I'm at work in front of this spreadsheet, and it's just, I've just had enough. She's like, I don't have any gym gear. Could I come to the arms and abs class? And I was like, absolutely. Like, that's one class you could come to quite easily and work out. So like, you know, even there's a situation where she didn't even need to get changed. She was able to come to the class and work out for 30 minutes, and then probably went back to her desk refreshed and feeling good. I mean, she's fortunate enough that where she works, she has a gym space to kind of move into. But again, like, you can use exercise and movement to actually stimulate well-being and mood and energy. And
workplaces know this. So workplaces, they give you breaks for a reason. And so many people in this day and age literally just, Lisa just thought I grabbed a glass of wine.
Well, I actually did as well, Lisa, to be honest with you.
Water, guys, water. So workplaces give you breaks for a reason, but in this day and age of like over productivity and like, let's do more, so many people don't take their scheduled breaks at work, and they just work through them, and they just sit at their desk, and they don't get up and move around, or they'll grab their phone and scroll Facebook on their break. It is so important that, especially like if you work in like an office tower or some sort of office building, walk on your break. Like, get outside and walk would be the absolute best. I know Karen was really great. I don't know if she's doing it as much this year, but last year Karen was amazing at getting out walking on her lunch every day. It gives your brain that space, and that's what it is this whole mood and movement being connected. So if you're dealing with something super stressful in your office, and then it's like, you know what, I just need to take a 5-minute breather. I'm going to go walk the stairs. I'm going to go just walk the hallway for a little bit. I'm going to go do a lap of the building, like whatever it is. But get your butt up and do a little bit of movement.
And I think in particularly, it's always important to kind of get up and get away from your desk, and whether it be walk around the office or walk the long way to where you get your water from, or whatever it might be. But I mean, particularly in the afternoon as well, when we've had our lunch and our energy's starting to fade anyway, because obviously the day is moving forward, then that afternoon break in particular is a really important one to get up and, you know, kind of get yourself moving a little bit, because that can re-energize you again for the remainder of the day as well. Otherwise, you kind of get into that funk as well, where you just feel a little bit flat. So when you think about it, like, what matters is what you do, not what you feel about what you do, if that makes sense, right? It's not it's what you do, not what you feel about it. So in other words, you might not want to go for a walk, you might think it's the worst idea possible, but it doesn't matter what you feel, it's the right thing to do. So just get up and walk.
And the more stressful your job is, the more you need to do it. Obviously we are very blessed, and our job is not very stressful. We very much love what we do. We also have a lot of movement, obviously part of our job. But I know some days when I'm sitting here doing like paperwork stuff and like computer worky stuff, or I'm staring at a screen for far too long, I have to force myself. So thankfully I have a little sidekick that lays by my feet all the time. Yeah. And usually if I've been sitting here for too long, he starts to annoy me that he wants to go for a walk anyways. So it's been so good for me. And then I'll go for a walk. It clears my head. It brings me back fresh. I have new ideas. I'm able to hammer through whatever else I need to do and get it done.
Well, as you know, Christina, I mean, I do some of my best thinking when I'm actually exercising. That's where I don't even think about it, but it bounces around. It's almost like it gets shaken up. It's all of that gets shaken up, and all of a sudden, like, these things come forward. And it's funny, Frankie just said she's learned through injuries that my mood and mindset are directly tied to movement. And when I can't work out, I'm not at my best. So true. So true for me personally, Frankie, as well. Like, being quite honest, like, I don't feel like I've ever suffered from depression, like clinically diagnosed depression, but I certainly have big highs and lows in terms of my outlook, if you like. And one of the reasons why I love exercise so much is because from a mentality perspective, it just makes me look at the world completely different. When I'm engaging in physical activity, it helps my mental well-being. Even to the point, like, you guys all know Lindsay, like, if I'm being an asshole, which, believe it or not, I can be from time to time, she basically, all she says to me is, go put your running shoes on, right? And I'll go and put my running shoes on, and I'll go for a run, and I'll come back, and probably usually the first thing that I say, I open the door, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. Right? And it just kind of shows you that it kind of just, I don't know, it's just this, I mean, scientifically proven that basically there's the endorphins that are released that basically help mood. You know, the UK, for example, they actually prescribe now, they prescribe for depression, they actually prescribe memberships, gym memberships. People get gym memberships, and they actually prescribe exercise, and it can be covered because there's such a strong link between movement and how you feel. So it's one of those things. There's so many advantages to movement. It's not just obviously the lifestyle and the weight loss and all of those kind of physical things. It's also in terms of just your attitude.
When you are exercising, like for those that are watching, when you are exercising and you're frustrated because the scale's not moving like you want, and maybe your clothes aren't quite fitting differently because, I mean, you've worked out twice and you expect to be 7 sizes smaller. And I mean, you know, we all want that instant gratification, but really think about that mood part of it and just think about how many times, and I mean, again, this has happened to me and I don't want to tell Ben that he's right, so don't make me do that. But I've had mornings where either I've been pissy or I've had a headache or I haven't felt great. And he's like, just go do your workout. And then I do, and I do feel better at the end of it. I mean, does it cure all that ails you? No. If you're dealing with, you know, financial stresses in your life, it's not going to fix that, but it gives you the clarity to be able to be like, okay, this is what life is throwing at me. This is how I can deal with it. And like Ben said, it gives you the positive outlook on it and the ability to be able to work through those things. Sometimes I have again, depression isn't something that's in my life right now, but I dealt with really bad postpartum depression after both my kids. And I saw a naturopath who did prescribe exercise to me, which was amazing. And getting outdoors was the other thing that he told me. Outside and exercise were the two big things that I had to do every day, which was really good. And it did help. That I just know that those things definitely improve for me. And my ability to cope gets way better when I move. I get overwhelmed very easily, and it helps me sort that all the jumble that happens in my head. You say that you get yours shaken up. Mine gets clearly.
So. Yeah. Well, it's funny you should say that because I mean I like to be outside, and when we're in Canada, I used to climb mountains, and part of that was just the simplicity of the task, right? It's just so simple. Like life can be so complicated sometimes, and there's so many things going on, and sometimes just a simple act of whether it be going outside and walking, you literally have to think about one step in front of the other, and you happen to be walking down a path and there's trees and birds. And, I mean, depending on where you are, I mean, you know, if you're wrapped up nice and warm, it can be snowy and you can be quite comfortable. It can be quite beautiful, a winter wonderland, right? Or in the summer.
Yeah, we had a beautiful walk this morning. Aside from it being very slippery, which you really had to concentrate on not falling. But aside from that, it was a beautiful walk this morning. It's cold, it's snowy, but it was just a really nice, pretty winter day. My kids were commenting on how pretty the snow looked on the trees. And so it was one of those mornings that, like you said, that you're able to take it all in. And
Totally. It's interesting, you know, kind of, it's funny how we talk about mood and then it's been tied to kind of depression. It's all tied in. But even mood, if there's no depression, it can make you feel accomplished once you do it. Even with depression, you know, once you've actually moved, you can feel a little bit better. You are. I mean, you don't feel dramatically better, but you're going to feel better having moved and some sense of accomplishment.
It's funny, Debbie had commented here, as someone that suffers from clinical depression, exercise makes me feel better and able to deal with life. It's so true, but I mean, it's often the last thing you want to do, but if you can just get yourself to that space of, like Ben said, put your shoes on, turn on the Zoom room. I'm just going to do the warm up, and if I don't feel like staying after that, I'll leave. And I mean, we would never hold it against you if you left. Any of us, we would all totally understand if you're like, you know what, I thought I could do it, but I don't think I can today. That would be fine, but just show up and try.
And this is another thing to consider as well. And you know, we always want to push you to constantly progress, right? And constant progress isn't like hammer all the time. It's not like give it 110%. And that's not really how progress happens. Progress is a mix of all things, right? Sometimes you come to a workout and you basically take it easy. It's considered an easier workout, right? You don't lift as heavy a weight, or you're slightly slower in your moves, because that's what you need on that particular day. Sometimes you walk in and you're just ready to go. You've had a tough day at work and you just want to fight the world, and the best thing is you just give it everything you've got and you leave just absolutely spent. Those hard workouts are completely important as well. And then sometimes you actually just don't feel like it, so you have a choice. I just don't feel like it, so I won't go, or I just don't feel like it, so when I go, I'll just go through the motions.
Well, and I don't know how many mornings I have said to myself, I'm just going to sort of fake it. Like, I'm not really going to work out. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do the moves, but like, but then I get there and I start doing it, and then I just go, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to push myself. I'm just going to, and then I have a hard time not working to the ability of the people in the class. So
like people pull you up. That's definitely it. Like, you know, this morning is a perfect example. My alarm went off, obviously teaching that early class, and I've got 2 alarms set. And I don't usually have an issue getting up, but I had a pretty hard weekend, like working out. So I'm tired this morning. I'm tired today. And the first alarm went off. Second, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wake myself up. I'm just gonna sit up a bit. And I sat up, but I must have fallen asleep again. So at like 25 after, I was like bolting up. I was like, holy shit, now I'm late. And like I'm in the room, and you know, like I'm kind of scrambling and I'm getting ready, and then everyone's popping in, and it's one of those things. It's like you want to do it because other people are there, and you want to be part of this community where you help each other along. We've all been there. Sometimes we felt great, sometimes we felt terrible, sometimes we felt strong, sometimes we felt weak, sometimes we wanted to be there, sometimes we didn't want to be there. You know, it's okay. We all show up feeling different things at different times, and sometimes we're up for it, sometimes we're not. But at the end of the day, showing up is what's going to help you be consistent and make that progress. And I can guarantee, I will definitely debate that I've never heard anyone say after doing some form of workout or movement that they have not felt better on some level. Not a silver bullet magic cure, but on some level they have felt more energy, a little bit more resilient, a little bit fresher, a little bit more alert, or even just the satisfaction of having accomplished something that they set themselves the goal of doing.
Lisa, I'm sorry about your job. I just read that part. I'm sorry about that. But it is crazy that your first thought was, I need to work out. Like, I just need to be able to move my body. And I mean, the stretch class will be great. It'll help to calm you, to center you. And I mean, that's part of our recorded classes too, that if we have those, a live class is fantastic, but if you can even just pop in a recorded one and see if that helps. If you're feeling that stress and anxiety come up though, like Ben said, sometimes those hard workouts of like, you know, the drumming or a hard cardio blast workout or something like that, like where you get that heart pumping and like, you're just feeling like, you know, like Ben said, you're mad at the world and it's just, it works through it. So that is, Tara just said too, she said, I would lie if I said I didn't just mainly show up for the people. So,
you know, whatever it takes, Tara, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, whatever it takes, you just basically, you latch on to those things that make it work for you. You know, that's it. That's absolutely it. But that's the underlying theme, is like, don't think that there's a time where you arrive, where you wake up and you feel like it, because, you know, even when your journey continues, you're going to wake up some days and it's just going to be easier not to go. But, you know, I think the thing we need to understand is that, you know, the resistance will fade once you start. And once you start moving that body, you're overall going to start to feel better. And, you know, with that consistency, you're going to start to see some of those changes. And when you start to see some of those changes happen, that builds momentum. There's more positive outlook, and you see the connection. And then all of a sudden, you get this unstoppable momentum where you're just moving forward. You're working out. You're feeling good. You're seeing results. You're working out. You're feeling good. You're seeing results. And all of a sudden, it's this unstoppable ball of momentum that you've been able to build.
And then when life happens, you just have to keep rolling forward with it. When life happens, you have to say, life happens today, something crappy happened, because it happens to all of us all the time. This is how I'm going to move past it. This is how I'm going to work through it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump on and do that stretch class. I'm going to go and, you know, still attend class today, even though I don't feel like it. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to do these things to work through this instead of putting that on the back burner, because it is important and you're important. All right. Final thought?
One final thought, and I think this is super important. to think about is like when we think about our goals and our accomplishments, where we want to get to, whether it's to get fitter, get stronger, lose weight, whatever it might be, we have to remember that very rarely in life do we get this beautiful, clear runway where everything moves out of the way and there's just this long stretch of time where we can just focus on our goal. Nothing's going to impede us. Everything steps back and it's just clear sailing. Life's always going to throw things at us, and whether that be illness or injury or personal circumstances. Lisa, sorry to read what you've written regarding your job. Like, things are going to happen. But the nice thing about exercise on the whole is we can control it, right? So if we're ill, we can rest and then come back. If we're injured, we can rehab. With work scenarios, you can use exercise to energize, to get a plan together in terms of what's next. And these are all things that we have direct control of in our life. And there's lots of things in our life that we don't have direct control of. So this is one of those that we do, and we can use it to really kind of help us kind of navigate this craziness that we call the world we live in.
Totally. Okay, if you guys want to read more about mood and movement, Ben is going to be writing the blog this week on our website. I know, right? Yeah, we didn't tell you that part. Yay, you! So Ben gets to write the blog this week, and then I will be writing the email this week on mood and movement. So look, the email will come out Thursday, the blog will come Saturday, and you guys can take a look at that if you just want a little more details. That you will see his perspective in the blog, my perspective and I'm going to add a little bit, just go a little bit deeper, and I'm also going to add a little bit about nutrition and mood in there as well, and that when your nutrition is on point, your mood will improve too. So
it's the same, right? That's absolutely the same. You can actually apply it to everything in many respects, right?
Totally. The healthier you are in general, the healthier you are. So if you keep your exercise healthy, your nutrition healthy, your rest healthy, if everything else, if all of these pieces are lining up, then your happiness factor is going to go way up. So thank you for guest hosting with us this week, Ben. By the time Lindsay comes back, she's going to be doing full coffee chats in Spanish. So
well, that's the plan. Don't be forgetting to saying that.
Right. Awesome. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. We will talk to you soon. Bye.
See you later. Bye.